Hey there everybody, I am in the historic downtown of Monroe, North Carolina. Now in this video, we're going to discover Monroe and all that it has to offer. I'm going to show you around a little bit, of course, show you some houses, talk about the demographics, what you can expect, industry, and more. So stay tuned to the end of this video because I'm also going to share with you a little known fact about Monroe that might shock you. So if you're looking for everything Charlotte, North Carolina and South Carolina, the ins, the outs, and everything in between, you have come to the right channel. Be sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date with everything that I am putting out there so you can learn everything you didn't know you needed to know. In addition, hit that notification button and stay up to date every time I drop a video. Now, I really do get calls, texts, and emails from people just like you every single day who are looking to move to the Charlotte and the local areas around it. So if that's you, be sure to give me a call, a text, an email, set up a Zoom invite. All of the information is in the description below. Go ahead and check it out. So let's dive in. I am in Monroe right now, super cute little town on the southeast side of Charlotte. Now, I'm going to go into all the details on it, but honestly, it was not a place most people wanted to go. Why? It's a really small town, and honestly, it only grew by 2,000 people between 2010 and 2020. Although between 2020 and 2024, it has grown exponentially and is expected to continue to grow. Now, a lot of that has to do with the economy. The economy is strong in Monroe, and I'm going to get to this in a little bit with our little known fact, but there's been some really big industry growth, including healthcare in the area, which is bringing a pull of people. Now, before we get in depth, it's a little chilly out. Let's go grab a cup of coffee. Okay, so you know me, I've got my coffee now, so I am good to go. 𝗖cie coffee, oh my gosh, so tasty, and the vibes. So you may hear this. One of the neatest things I love about downtown Monroe, they actually have music playing on the streets. Now, sometimes it's the businesses, but there's actually speakers on the corners playing music. It's a whole vibe. I'm here for it. So let's dive into some of the info about Monroe, shall we? Monroe has been going through a ton of regentrification. And honestly, a lot of that has completely changed the economy for the area and attracted some very unusual businesses. Now, this might sound interesting to you, but Monroe at this point in time is actually a hotspot for the aerospace industry. I know, I would not have guessed it myself. I actually was doing my research on this before filming and was kind of taken aback. But yes, the aerospace industry, it's also the home to a lot of healthcare. That's right, healthcare in the Carolinas is a big thing, it is a big industry, and it's no different here in Monroe. So if you're looking for your fix of records, that record store I was just in, it was a little bit louder in there, so I didn't want to film. But it is the record store. I feel like every single small town needs a record store, and that is the one here. So go check it out. Phenomenal owner in there. They actually do different themes every week. So today it is Latin jazz this week, which is I'm a fan. I feel like Havana Nights. Anyway, back to Monroe. So Monroe, the town of Monroe, was founded in 1843. Now, when it was founded, it was actually one of the few planned settlements in the Carolinas. In addition to that, they named it after our president, James Monroe. Pretty cool. I like a little bit of history there. Now, of course, it's gone through growth like every other town in North Carolina, but this one has had some major changes. One of the biggest hot spots, especially for Charlotteans that are coming into the area to visit for maybe the day or the weekend, because yes, it makes a great staycation spot, would be Treetop Vineyards. Now, for any of you coming from wine country, the Carolinas wines are a little bit different. We have what they call the muscadine grape, which if you know anything about the East Coast, that means you're gonna have a sweet wine, like a Moscato. Now, personally, that is not my breed of grape, but don't worry. Treehouse Vineyards actually takes in other grapes from other regions around the country. So you'll have your Chardonnays, you'll have your Sauvignon Blancs, you'll have all of the wine flavors that you're looking for. But if you want a true North Carolina wine with the grapes grown here, pucker up, it's gonna be sweet. As boasted by the town's website itself, Monroe is a great spot for families, especially for weekend activities, afternoon activities, you name it. From everything from antique car cruise-ins to outdoor movies to just festivals downtown. Throughout the year, you're gonna find something to do in Monroe. Now, there's plenty of other activities outside of that, and here's just to name a few. Now, you also know I love beer aside from coffee. Coffee would be my go-to when I'm on the calls with you guys. However, I do love a great beer, and the Carolinas are big into beer. Charlotte actually has 68 plus, although now it's probably 70 plus breweries in the region. And well, guess what? Monroe has its own. South Range Brewing in Monroe is right off of Main Street, which, by the way, is where I am. And it is a great little brewery if you want to go hang out. Now, another thing a lot of people don't know, the breweries in our areas are actually really family friendly. So yes, you can bring your dog, you can bring your kids, you can bring your friends' kids, but it's a great place to hang out and it's close into town. Now, in addition to that, if you want to take the kids out, personally, I like going to these things. You've got the Monroe Science Center. It's great for all ages, but especially if you want to get the kids out, it's a really awesome spot to go. I know as a kid growing up in New York, we would pop over into Jersey and go to the Liberty Science Center. Well, this one is not as big, so if you're from that area, don't expect any domes or IMAXs, but it is an incredible spot to get kids encouraged in looking into science. Now, if you want a second one, you can also go to Discovery Place in downtown Charlotte, but if you're looking to stay in Monroe, this would be the one to check out. Now let's talk about the Dowd Center Theater. Now this one opened in 1940. You actually saw a very short clip of it earlier in this video. It's right on Main Street. I'm actually staring at it right now. But the Dowd Center opened up in 1940. Now, as most of these old theaters have, it's undergone a ton of reconstruction, ton of renovations, updates. The cool thing about it though, it is now an active theater. So you can actually go enjoy it here in the 2020s. It won't feel like you're back in the 40s, but the architecture sure does. So this one's gonna be more of a talking head video. I'm sorry, but there's just so much information to share with you guys with regards to Monroe. One of them is the demographics. Now, being Monroe is considered more of a rural area, or at least it was, it has a lot of interesting demographics. In fact, it's only about 41% Caucasian, about 22% African American, but 31% Hispanic. That's right, the Latino community is actually quite large in Monroe for many reasons. But one of the nice things is it's actually become much easier to commute into Charlotte. Most of the reason for that is because 74 is now an optional toll road. So you can take the toll road for 74 and get into Charlotte way faster. Now, the average home age in Monroe, this is where it differs from a lot of other areas, is about 31 years old. So you can kind of see when that boom was in building was back in the 80s and 90s. Wow, crazy to think about. But with that being said, there's a lot of new construction that's going in as well for some really awesome prices. I'm talking below the 400s in some cases, depending upon what you're looking for. In fact, you could find a 4 or 5 bedroom house that's new construction in the 500s, sitting on 1/4 of an acre. Try and do that in Charlotte. Now, another thing to think about is renters. Renters actually do make up 37% of the population living here in Monroe, and about 1.8% of properties, that's apartments and homes, are available for rent. So there is a lack of rentals here in the Monroe area, which also means that there's quite a bit of homeowners in the area. Really interesting. So let's go take a drive. I'm gonna show you guys a little bit of the streets of Monroe. I know I told you I'm a talking head today, but I'm gonna show you some of the streets of Monroe, and we're gonna go check out some houses. What do you think? Let's go. So let's talk about home values. You know, of course, I'm here to help you move to the area. Home values in Monroe are actually at about 240 as an average. Now, compared with the rest of the US, which is around, I'm giving you an average here, of 340, it's significantly lower. Here's the interesting part. Over the last year, the actual equity or the growth in valuation for properties here in Monroe has actually grown 18.9%. That is bonkers, especially when the rest of the US is hovering around 8%. In fact, the average growth in Charlotte over the last year, year over year, was 8.7. So Monroe is way outgrowing the rest of the area. Again, why is this? Great economy, great industry, very easy commute times in and around Charlotte, but a lot of land and property still available for a reasonable value. So it's got everything you're looking for in this little known town. So you know where this is headed. Let's talk a little bit about commute times. Commute times from Monroe into Charlotte are actually about 24 to 25 minutes, give or take. Now, it depends upon traffic, but that's the cool thing. Being 74 now has a toll lane. You have options. You can go back roads, you can go old 74, you can go down the toll lane, whatever you need to get where you need to go, you've got the option. So those that do commute into Charlotte or around Charlotte, you've got an opportunity. Now, let's talk about going to North Charlotte. This would be north on 45. That's still gonna take you probably about 50 minutes. In fact, to get to the Prosperity Village area, it's about a 45-minute drive from where I am right now in Main Street or on Main Street. So not terrible, but there's plenty of job opportunities in and around this area by itself. You may not actually need to commute. I give a shout out to. Okay, so you know I can't help myself. I have to go in these little shops. I know this is backwards, but it's 𝗪𝗪. And they have some great, I'm not even gonna call them, they're not trinkets. They're like the best gift ideas you could possibly think of. On top of that, it smells really good in there, and the staff and the owner are so gosh darn sweet. So you need to check it out. You need to go in there. Trust me, you will find someone on your wish list. In addition to that, they have the biggest Yeti collection with every color you could possibly think of. So forget Amazon. Pop in there, have a conversation, get all your Yeti needs. Yes, guys and gals, it's all there. All right, let's go see houses, I promised. I wish I had not already had lunch before I came out to do this video, because that sandwich shop has been open since 1933. Now, think about that. The Dowd Theater, 1940. That means that little sandwich shop has been open for 7 years longer than the theater was open. You gotta go in, you gotta get a sandwich. They're very unique. I love the items they have on the menu, and you can still get your basic ham and cheese if you want, but take their recommendation and go with their specialties. So a few other fun facts about Monroe. The unemployment rate is at 5.3, which is below the 6.5 US average. In addition to that, we also have some really big growth. Now, I feel like it's big growth, but we're up over 3% in job market growth here in Monroe. So, hey, growth is growth. I love it. And you can see even just by the prices in real estate, what's been happening. There's a lot of people moving in the area, and the economy is going to continue to grow. So let's talk about some of the downsides of Monroe. Like any town, there's going to be some crime. It's normal. but they are well within the range and they are way under the US average. They actually come in about 70 if we're talking like 1 is zero crime, which doesn't exist. 0 is like the worst possible scenario ever. It comes in around 70. Now, this is still below the US average, so this is a good thing. But with any town, you do have crime. The other good thing to keep in mind, should I say, it's not violent crime. A lot of it is more property crime. So it could be someone broke into a car or someone stole a lawn gnome. All of these things come in under property crime. So it's not necessarily the worst crime in the world, like a jail heist. Who would be stealing from a jail? Let me try that again. It's not anything crazy big like a jewelry heist or things like that. It's your everyday ordinary crimes. So Monroe really is a safe area. Monroe has a variety of home prices. I know we were already talking about some median and average prices in the area. This home behind me is a 3-2. It is about 1,200 square feet, built in 2002. Now, this home is available for $295,000. That's right, $295,000. We're about 4 minutes outside of the downtown area of Monroe. And this is just so cute. Now, this is a more modest area, so you'll see some of the video of those grand mansions that were built back in the 1900s. Beautiful, and we're not very far from that, but there's a variety of neighborhoods interlaced within that. So we are basically right across the main road from that. So how cute is this? $295,000. I can't believe it. All right, let's go check out another one, which bumps the price up into the 300s. Let's go take a look. Now, because Monroe is an older town, there are some absolutely gorgeous historic homes. I mean, I'm talking 2 to 3 stories, just grand. Look like they should just be beautiful plantation homes, but they're in town. In addition, there's a lot of craftsman style homes. That was obviously the style back in the day. That's come back in modern days as well. But they're going to be more traditional layout with your bedrooms separate on a long hallway from the kitchen, from the living, the formal living, etc. Some of them even still have root cellars. So let's head to the next house and I'll give you some views of town. Now, while the average age of homes in Monroe is 31 years old, there's new construction as well, and it's not as expensive as you might assume. Now, this property right behind me is actually 1,600 square feet, 4 beds, 3 baths, and it was built in 2023. Now, what's the asking price on this, you might wonder? Maybe $400, maybe $500. Here's the thing. This home is priced at $325,000. That's right, $325,000 for this house right here. So you can get new construction, you can get options in Monroe, in the surrounding areas. If you're looking for something new construction, it's doable. Now, this one was by a one-off builder. As you can see, the neighbors next door do not match what this looks like. If you're looking in a development where all of the homes are newer, you're probably going to find the properties to be closer into the upper 400s, into the 500s, but it depends upon the area. So don't discount it. So let's talk about schools in Monroe. This is another big question that I get. The schools are actually an average of 7 out of 10, which is pretty darn good. Now, while some schools do have a higher rating than others, that's how every town goes. Monroe actually does have a 7 out of 10 rating. So take a look, see what schools that you like, and then you can find a home in that area. So if you are concerned with schools, highly recommend pick the school first, then pick the house. So as I mentioned earlier, there's old homes and there's new homes. This one would be a definition of an older home. Built in 1905, you can see the area that I'm standing in right now. All of these homes are older. Oh my gosh, gorgeous. All of these homes are older. This one built in 1905 specifically. Now this home is a 4-bed, 2.5 bath, 2,700 square feet. Here's the thing, remember the brand new one we just saw? This one's actually in a better area. It's bigger and it's only slightly more expensive. $365,000. Meanwhile, the brand new home was actually listed less, but not by much. So I don't know. For me, I prefer more space, but if you don't want an old home and it comes with old maintenance, go for new. But this area, this little neighborhood is so cute. I love it. I love it. I love it. So Definitely a great spot. $365. You can't beat that. All right, so now we're jumping up the price a little bit, and we are going up into the 600s, but I'm going to show you why. So take a look at this. Hold tight. Okay, so this beautiful property, and don't mind the road traffic, there is a little bit. We are right on Franklin Avenue, which is one of the main streets that goes through Monroe. Now, we are literally like 3 minutes from downtown, and this is what you'll find. Now, this house sits on 1.13 acres. It's 5 beds, 3 full baths, and it's 4,600 square feet. Now, this home was built in 1915. To have an acre of land right now, like literally right in the heart of Monroe, is so spectacular. Now, this house has been completely redone on the inside, gorgeous hardwood floors all throughout, and the asking price for this home is $650,000. Think about that though. 4,600 square feet, 5 beds, 3 baths, all redone on an acre in the town, like in the proper of Monroe proper, for $650,000. You will not get anything like that. Take this house and plop it in the middle of the Charlotte, you're paying $2 million. That's the power of Monroe. Thanks for taking this tour of Monroe with me, you guys. I want to hear your comments. What do you want to know more about? What did you like? What didn't you like? And if you live in Monroe, I want to hear from you too. Now, if you enjoyed the content on this channel, go ahead and like and subscribe. I truly appreciate you. And I really do get calls, texts, and emails every single day from people moving just like you to the area. So that's you. All of my contact information is in the description below. Reach out to me. And remember, whether it's 9 days or 90 days, whether you're moving across the world, across the country, or just across town, I want to make your move everything you want it to be. Until next time, I look forward to showing you around town.